The story begins with a man coming face to face with a magnificent dragon. When the dragon challenges him, he effortlessly halts its advance and annihilates it with a mere gesture. Despite his overwhelming capability, the man is engulfed in fury and declares his dissatisfaction. He explains that he must get stronger and he needs more power. We then watch as our protagonist, named Ragna. Ragna, initially a weak and lonely individual, has a life-changing encounter when he's nearly devoured by a dragon. At this critical moment, he meets Leo, a brave and resourceful orphan girl, who invites him to join her in dragon hunting. Despite his initial cowardice, Ragna is inspired by Leo's courage and determination. He learns that dragons, which are magically potent and hostile towards humans, can be killed either by freezing their blood with silver weapons or by exposing them to sunlight. Tragically, during a dragon attack on their city, Leo sacrifices herself to save Ragna. This event becomes the catalyst for Ragna's transformation. He embarks on a relentless quest for vengeance, dedicating his life to eradicating dragons. Over the years, he faces numerous life-threatening battles, evolving from a frequent loser to an unstoppable victor. His perseverance and countless battles lead to his silverine sword becoming one with his body, transcending him beyond human limitations and establishing him as the most formidable dragon hunter. His journey spans 44 years, marking a tale of growth, loss, and ultimate mastery. Ragna's journey takes an unexpected turn with the arrival of Crimson, a high dragon who expresses admiration for Ragna's extraordinary strength as a human. When Ragna violently rejects Crimson's multiple overtures for a partnership to slay dragons together, Crimson retaliates by revealing Ragna's location to other dragons. This leads to a confrontation where Ragna, despite his prowess, finds himself overwhelmed and unable to vanquish all the dragons. In a surprising twist, Artematica, an angel-winged dragon, intervenes and declares that Ragna will be spared. The dragons reveal a shocking plan to transform Ragna into one of their own, erasing his memories and deep-seated hatred towards dragonkind. As Artematica prepares to enact this transformation with a dagger, Ragna, clinging to his sense of purpose and identity, makes a desperate choice. He stabs himself in the chest, freezing his own heart with his silverine sword to prevent the dragon's blood from corrupting him. Later, Crimson, impressed with Ragna's determination, decides to revive him for the purpose of eradicating all dragons. However, this plan ultimately fails. Faced with this defeat and a lifetime of regrets, the older Ragna resorts to using magic to travel back in time to confront his younger self just moments before the tragic death of Leo, the person he deeply idolized. The encounter between the older Ragna and his younger self is intense and emotional. The older Ragna, filled with self-disgust, berates his younger self for not being strong enough to protect Leo. He reveals his eventual status as the strongest human alive, capable of defeating even the dragon god, but laments that this power is pointless as everyone he cared about is already dead. Overcome with regret and a sense of futility, the older Ragna is struck by a profound existential crisis. In a pivotal moment, the younger Ragna, desperate to change the course of events and save Leo, pleads for the strength of his older self. However, the older Ragna, in a drastic and symbolic gesture, stabs his younger version in the heart with his sword. This act not only signifies the transfer of his formidable powers but also represents the older Ragna's acceptance of his fate and the futility of his past actions. The younger Ragna's body begins to freeze, indicating a significant transformation, as he awakens his newfound power. The older Ragna declares that from this point forward, his younger self will embody both their powers and memories, effectively merging their identities. However, this comes at a significant cost. Despite the potential consequences, the younger Ragna is determined to proceed, driven by his unwavering resolve to protect Leo. Meanwhile, Leo, exhausted from battle, confronts Grumwort, whom she mistakenly assumes to be a dragon god. Grumwort, taking offense to being compared to the royal dragon bloodline, aggressively corrects her and introduces himself as Grumwort, the 10th seed of the blood of the wing, and the weakest superior dragon. Despite his lower status among dragons, Grumwort boasts of his strength and his ability to overpower humans. In an unexpected turn, Grumwort shares with Leo the reason behind the impending destruction of their city and kingdom. He reveals that humans are to be used as offerings to the dragon's gods. He specifically mentions a pastry shop in Donapiru, favored by his god, which recently went out of business following a robbery. This closure, according to Grumwort, led to the dragon god's depression and the subsequent decision to annihilate the kingdom. This revelation also explains why Donapiru had been spared from dragon attacks for the last decade. It was under their protection due to the god's fondness for the pastry shop. As they speak, Ragna showcases the immense power he has acquired through his fusion with his older self. As Grumwort, the dragon, prepares to attack Leo with his blades, he senses a similar threat behind him. However, finding nothing but darkness and mist, he dismisses it as an illusion. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts, marked by the sound of armor dropping in the sight of frozen dragons. Ragna, now a formidable force, effortlessly defeats attacking dragons with mere touches. He unleashes an overwhelming aura, his ultimate technique, that incapacitates the dragons in his vicinity. When he confronts Grumwort, the dragon feels an intense, chilling power, reminiscent of the dragon monarch's formidable presence. These monarchs, chosen by their god to lead the dragon bloodlines, possess their own ultimate powers, instilling fear and respect among dragons. Despite initially denying the possibility, Grumwort, feeling threatened, transforms into his true dragon form, boasting about his strength and ultimate form. Yet, in a stunning display of power, Ragna freezes him into a giant ice cube with a simple command. Both Leo and Sykes, witnessing this, are astonished at Ragna's transformation from a perceived weakling to a being of immense power. Upon Ragna's command, all the frozen dragons shatter into pieces. As Ragna regains his composure, Leo calls out to him. The thoughts of his older and younger selves merge as he runs towards her, overwhelmed by emotions and the realization of what could have been if he had this power earlier. They share a poignant moment, with Ragna breaking down in tears and calling out her name. Leo, although confused by his reaction, comforts him with a smile and reassurance, acknowledging his hard work and the strength he has attained. On the same day, a catastrophic event unfolds as 6 cities come under attack from a group of superior dragons. These dragons ruthlessly exterminate everyone in their path, leading to the fall of 6 cities. Remarkably, one city, the birthplace of Ragna, known as the Reaper of Dragonkind, survives this onslaught. The next day, Leo updates Ragna on the situation facing their city. Sykes enters and inquires about Ragna's plan of action in response to the imminent threat posed by the dragons. Ragna, aware of the dragons' adherence to their own laws and the fact that they won't attack a place not sanctioned by their god, suggests that they should leave the country to escape the dragon's wrath. As this plan is being discussed, Sykes, seemingly puzzled, questions Ragna's true identity. However, in an unexpected turn, Ragna falls asleep mid-conversation. Sykes is left confused by Ragna's sudden lapse into sleep, but Leo offers an explanation. She reveals that Ragna has been secretly undergoing intense training. Ragna, in a state of sleep, is emotionally stirred, calling out for Leo and shedding tears. Leo, despite assuring him of her presence, internally questions her role and necessity in Ragna's life now that he possesses newfound power. Amidst this emotional scene, an unexpected and alarming event occurs. The ground begins to shake, signaling imminent danger. They discover that the forest itself seems to be advancing towards them in an attack. Leo, driven by her instinct to protect, rushes out to confront the threat, leaving Ragna still asleep and vulnerable. The narrative then shifts to a different setting, where we are introduced to a chef apologizing to a character named Lord Temruagtov. The chef has prepared a lamb dish baked in a pie crust for the Lord. However, Lord Temruagtov, expressing impatience and dissatisfaction, demands the meal to be served by the maid. Upon tasting the dish, the Lord exhibits a moment of satisfaction, complimenting its deliciousness, but then disturbingly notes that it doesn't compare to the chef's culinary skills. This scene takes a dark turn as Lord Temruagtov transforms into a monstrous entity and gruesomely devours the chef, followed by the maids, sparing only one. Back in the city, Leo is engaged in a fierce battle against an onslaught of animated tree branches. Despite her valiant efforts in defeating numerous adversaries, the battle seems unending. An explosion nearby catches her attention, but her primary concern is Ragna, who has been ensnared by the branches. As she rushes to his aid, she too is attacked. At this critical moment, Ragna, sensing Leo's peril, awakens from his sleep. His call for Leo and the release of his immense power is so potent that it even catches the attention of the monstrous lord previously introduced. Ragna's aura is so formidable that it freezes every tree branch in the vicinity. Concerned about the encroaching forest on the city, Ragna teleports to the location to address the threat. Leo attempts to follow, but Ragna is preoccupied with self-reproach for letting his guard down after saving Leo. He accelerates, determined to confront the ongoing danger, and soon encounters the monster from before. In a bold move, Ragna dropkicks the monster, sending it flying away. A surviving maid, witnessing this scene, is left in confusion. When she inquires about Ragna's well-being, he mistakenly identifies her as Crimson, a dragon monarch. Ragna confronts her, believing her to be a key figure in his and the world's fate, responsible for linking past and present and transferring powers. He accuses her of being a traitor to the dragons and involved in a plot to kill the dragon god. Ragna, however, is unaware of her true identity. She reveals herself as Eliza, not Crimson, which leaves Ragna perplexed. Despite his aggression and accusations, Eliza responds with a slap, further adding to the confusion. At this moment, Leo arrives, questioning whether Ragna has already dealt with the dragons, unaware of the intense and complicated confrontation he just had with Eliza. The monster who Ragna had previously dropkicked, revealing himself as the 8th seed of the dragons, reappears in a fit of anger. He launches an attack on Ragna, vowing to devour him. However, Ragna swiftly counters by summoning a mysterious ball and throwing it into the monster's mouth. He then quickly escapes with Leo in his arms just as the monster explodes from the inside. Once they are at a safe distance, Leo expresses her admiration for Ragna's newfound strength, something she had predicted but did not expect to manifest so soon. She acknowledges the challenge of keeping pace with his power. Ragna, however, seems to ignore her comments and instructs her to lead the townspeople across the border to safety. Leo, feeling sidelined and disregarded, confronts Ragna, demanding he listen to her orders. In a rare moment of vulnerability, she loses her composure, later apologizing for her outburst. Ragna, reflecting on this, realizes he has always seen Leo as a strong, composed figure, overlooking the fact that she is still a 12-year-old child. He blames himself for her premature maturity, forced by his own perceived weakness. In a heart-wrenching decision, Ragna tells Leo that they can no longer be together for her safety, as he sees her as too vulnerable. Hurt and enraged, Leo attempts to attack him, but Ragna effortlessly stops her blade and leaves her, disappearing from sight. Hours later, Leo regains consciousness, finding herself with Sykes. He explains that they have left the country, following Ragna's directive as their only chance of survival. As Leo processes this, she reminisces about a past conversation with Ragna, where she shared her dream and Ragna expressed his desire simply to be by her side. Overwhelmed by these memories and her failed attempt to harm Ragna, Leo breaks down in tears. Meanwhile, Ragna, observing Leo and her group from a distance, encounters Elise. Despite Elise questioning his decision to leave Leo, Ragna insists he is fine. However, as he turns away, his tears betray his true feelings. He confesses to Elise that he can only be around those he does not care for, as he fears they would all eventually perish. Elise expresses her intention to return home, but Ragna continues to address her as Crimson, mistakenly believing her to be a dragon monarch. He explains that her dragon powers are blocked, meaning she no longer possesses the strengths or weaknesses of a dragon. Elise denies this and walks away, but Ragna suddenly collapses from exhaustion and a high fever. Elise, upon finding Ragna unconscious, tends to him and later explains that she couldn't abandon the person who saved her. Ragna, waking up in front of a fireplace, is puzzled by his body's reaction and wonders if he is still adapting to his powers. He seeks Elise's opinion, but she insists she is not Crimson. Ragna confirms the dragon's intention to destroy the kingdom and reveals his mission to hunt all dragons, starting with the winged monarch. Elise is skeptical, but Ragna assures her that their future selves accomplished this task in the future, and they can do it even faster now. As Elise contemplates Ragna's claims about his future self and her true identity as Crimson, which she doesn't recall, she finds Ragna's story intriguing. She secretly analyzes Ragna's body while he sleeps and discovers two things. His body is fused with a silver sword, and he has immense potential. These revelations excite her, as she eagerly anticipates testing this new method of dragon slaying. However, their conversation is interrupted when they notice dragons heading towards Leo's group. Without hesitation, Ragna picks up Elise, presumably to rush to their aid, demonstrating his continued concern and protective instincts towards those he cares about. He asks Elise for orders, still under the impression that she is a figure of authority. Elise, confused but intrigued, tells him to obliterate the dragons. Ragna complies, skillfully defeating the dragons with his aura-generated blades that freeze them upon contact. Elise, analyzing the swords, realizes their extraordinary power, capable of freezing and potentially killing superior dragons. She contemplates the immense and dangerous potential of Ragna's power, musing that if controlled, it could be a formidable force. In a bizarre turn of events, Elise, or Crimson as Ragna believes her to be, vomits a pool of slime that transforms into a weapon against the dragons, combining and dissolving them. Revealing her true form, she proposes a partnership with Ragna, with the condition that he drinks a special poison that will ensure his loyalty by activating if he betrays her. Ragna, without hesitation, drinks the poison, showing his commitment to their cause. Crimson then crafts a throne from the dragon bones, declaring their joint mission to slay the dragon god and exterminate all dragons. Ragna, in turn, makes a solemn promise that Crimson will be the last dragon he eliminates. Their agreement is unexpectedly interrupted by the voice of the slime, which had been residing inside Crimson. The slime transforms into a small child and expresses disapproval of Ragna's attitude towards Crimson. Crimson, pleased with the interaction between Ragna and the slime, is eager to learn more about the future. Ragna's simple response, "We lost," piques Crimson's interest. He probes further about the number of dragon monarchs eliminated and other significant events like the World Magic and the Great Crusade, as well as Ragna's ultimate fate. Ragna, however, is unable to provide clear answers, admitting that his memories are vague and only surface under specific triggers. This admission causes Crimson to doubt Ragna's trustworthiness. Ragna insists that his memories return sporadically, like when he recognized Crimson. Realizing that specific stimuli are needed to unlock Ragna's memories, Crimson contemplates this peculiarity. As they continue their conversation, Crimson inquires about the nature of Ragna's power. Ragna assures him that his power, a gift from his future self, is embedded in his body, not reliant on his fluctuating memories. Meanwhile, the story shifts to a city under attack by dragonkind. A group of hunters is protecting the survivors, with their leader rallying them to stay strong. In a dramatic entrance, Ragna arrives in a truck, quickly dispatching 2 dragons and impressively defeating the rest, leaving the hunters in awe of his abilities. Crimson, observing Ragna's prowess, expresses interest in his silverine battle arts. However, he suggests that these skills should be utilized by other dragon hunters, pointing to the group they've just encountered. Ragna observes the group leader consoling a young child, promising safety across the border. Seizing the opportunity, Crimson reassures the group that the nearby dragons have been hunted down and introduces Ragna as the Reaper, a master dragon hunter. This claim confounds everyone, including Ragna, as they struggle to make sense of Crimson's exaggerated portrayal of Ragna's achievements and role. Crimson introduces himself as Ragna's companion and a mage to the group of survivors and hunters. Michael, the group's leader, approaches them with a request. He pleads with Crimson and Ragna to help defeat a powerful dragon, the third seat named Tempest Cell de Saz-Toi, which forced them to flee Tordier City after it unleashed a devastating tornado. Crimson, using his knowledge as a mage, recognizes de Saz and its ability to hide within the wind. Ragna, fueled by anger, attempts to leave to hunt de Saz, but Crimson stops him. He reveals to Ragna that although his power has removed the limits on his mind, his body cannot keep up. Ragna's physical state is severely compromised, with damaged muscle fibers rendering him immobile for the next 3 days. As the conversation progresses, Crimson subtly manipulates the emotions of the group, especially Michael. He points out their guilt for fleeing and ignoring others in need during the attack by de Saz. Michael is consumed by this guilt, admitting that he only protected the last group to avoid self-blame for not saving others. Seizing this moment of vulnerability, Crimson presents Michael with a sword, claiming it will grant him the power to defeat dragons. Michael, desperate for redemption and power, accepts the sword. He then leads them to the old city of Tordier, stopping at a destroyed building with only a door remaining. Using a magical key, Crimson opens the door, hinting at a new phase of their journey and the potential for significant confrontations ahead. The hunters are astounded as they step into a room, magically located in America, filled with guns. They're impressed by the weaponry, which Crimson explains are more powerful than those in their own country. The crucial element, however, is the bullets, which are being infused with Ragna's power, despite his immobilized state. As the hunters practice their shooting, Crimson's maniacal satisfaction is evident. Drawing a comment from Ragna about his twisted smile, Crimson, sensing Ragna's unease, confronts him about his attitude towards involving others in their fight. He points out Ragna's reluctance to be around people for fear of their death, and accuses him of abandoning Leo. Crimson further probes into Ragna's motives, suggesting that Leo is his driving force, and ponders the impact on Ragna if Leo were to be harmed or killed. He insists that Leo is now integral to their mission, which includes eradicating all dragons. Taking his manipulation further, Crimson proposes a disturbing plan to keep Leo safe. To place her in a magical storage space in a comatose state. This would ensure her safety while they continue their mission, keeping her out of harm's way and under Ragna's care. Ragna, infuriated by Crimson's suggestion and mockery, attempts to punch him but is too weak. Crimson further taunts Ragna by kicking him and berating his inability to understand him. Crimson then declares his intention to take on de Saz, leaving Ragna behind. At this moment, the slime, which has been scouting de Saz's movements, returns with a report. Crimson deduces that de Saz, the third seat of the dragon hierarchy, has been stationed in the town to stand by, and is currently idling there. He sees this as an opportunity, planning to use the dragon's presence for his own strategic purposes. However, Crimson keeps his knowledge about the survivors a secret, intending to manipulate everyone involved to his advantage. He then reveals his plan to the group, igniting excitement and enthusiasm among them as they set off. Upon encountering Desses, Crimson boldly uses a megaphone to taunt the dragon, calling him a pathetic loser and dismissing his bloodline. This provocation annoys Desses, who is baffled by the audacity of a human speaking so disrespectfully. As the confrontation escalates, the dragon hunters, led by their fearless leader, begin to doubt their chances of success, especially upon witnessing the massive tornado summoned by Desses. Despite their fear, the leader rallies his team, urging them not to lose courage as they execute a tactical retreat. Desses, determined not to let the dragon hunters escape, intensifies the tornado surrounding him, ensuring that it obstructs their escape. Crimson quickly realizes that the tornado is moving faster than their car, making a careless retreat impossible. Desses, noticing their retreat towards the sunlight, which he detests, is irked but not overly concerned due to his superior regenerative abilities. Crimson, aware that sunlight alone is insufficient to significantly harm a dragon of Desses' caliber, commands the gunner in their group to open fire with a machine gun mounted on their truck, shooting silverine bullets. These bullets, uniquely infused with Ragnar's silverine magic, are effective not in freezing the dragon's blood directly but rather the magic within it. This crucial distinction means that when the bullets contact anything magically controlled, like the Desses tornado, they cause immediate freezing. The Desses, puzzled by the impact on his tornado, mistakenly assumes these are standard silver bullets. Crimson, cunningly reading his thoughts, knows he underestimates their strategy, believing they have simply acquired a high-quality weapon. In reality, the machine gun fires leaf bullets charged with Ragnar's unique magic, further enhancing their effectiveness. As the battle rages on, the hunters' continuous fire creates an expanding column of ice within the tornado. They maneuver deftly, avoiding the debris flung by the powerful winds. The Desses, confident in his control over the tornado, remains unfazed by the surface-level attacks. However, Crimson, anticipating his thoughts and overconfidence, orders her men to switch to a different set of bullets, also infused with Ragnar's magic but with a significantly greater impact. These new bullets begin to destabilize the tornado, forcing the Desses to exert more power to maintain control. The situation escalates as the dragon hunters persist in their assault, creating more ice columns and further destabilizing the tornado. Faced with this unexpected and effective strategy, the Desses is thrown into chaos and fury. He loses control of the tornado, and his rage intensifies against the humans, particularly the bounty hunters challenging him. As the Desses' anger intensifies, his tornado grows massively, engulfing everything around it in destruction. However, the hunters' relentless assault with silverine-infused bullets has turned the tornado into a massive ice column, which suddenly shatters, causing the Desses to fall out, stunned and disoriented. To his shock, dawn breaks, exposing him to the sunlight he despises. In a dramatic moment, Ragnar, utilizing his silverine magic, forms a wall with arm-like extensions that snatch the Desses from the air. An arrow, also charged with silverine magic, pierces the dragon's back, causing his blood to start freezing. Desperate, the Desses struggles to use his wind magic, but only a feeble breeze emerges. The five knights work to ensure the arrow's effect is sustained, combining its power with the sunlight to trigger a combustion. However, an unexpected force uproots the ground, dislodging the arrow and freeing the Desses. Enraged and disoriented, he attempts to remove the arrow, only to be struck by the truck used by the soldiers, further scattering his form. Crimson, observing the chaos, reflects on the battle's complexity and the factors that led to their victory: the Desses' pride, sunlight, silverine magic, and the dragon's negligence. She points out that these elements are crucial in defeating superior dragons. Ragnar, witnessing Crimson's tactics and effectiveness, gains a newfound respect and awe for her abilities. He acknowledges her as one of the best dragon hunters and contemplates the potential of their partnership in bringing down dragonkind. However, he secretly vows to hunt Crimson once their mission is complete. After the battle, Crimson equips the knights with vehicles and weapons for their escape. Before they leave, he casts a spell to erase their memories of him. With a radio pulled from his hat, a male voice announces a message from the less royal army. And that's the end of our video. To see more, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.